your wildest dreams.
So many things I never could see. So many choices falling on me. Could it be my destiny to be Shaman?
Shaman King, to be Shaman, Shaman King. If your spirit is strong, you could be the one.
I can look at the world in a different light. I know what it takes to make it right, and I won't give up the fight to be Shaman.
Shaman King.
Hey guys, welcome back to Everything Anime Podcast. I'm your host Shinry, here at the Everything Anime Podcast, where I rank from anime, manga, video games, TV shows, every other topic I'm talking about. Today's video is on Shaman King Volume 7. Now, we've done this intro a lot, so I'm just going to speed run this, but basically, I read Shaman King as a kid. I have never read the official ending. I have seen the 4Kids version. That's not how the series ends, plus it has a kind of disappointing ending anyway. But I did like it a lot, especially the theme song, which you know is going to play. But yeah, I read it to an extent, and then at one volume, I don't know which one, we'll probably find it as we read it, but one of the volumes, the author just said, like, he was taking a hiatus, you know, like how Hunter x Hunter went on a break, you know, how D. Grayman went on a long hiatus and dieted. However, D. Grayman went on, like, a break for, like, 2 years, came back and just wrote the ending, you know, like, some shit like that. So, when I found out that Shaman King actually ended, I was in Texas, I was talking to this guy, I was like, yeah, I love the Shaman King manga, I was like, it never ended. He was like, yeah, it did. I was like, what are you talking about? So ever since then, I've been collecting all these manga, at least one a month, and I try to do one video a month. Kind of fell behind, just a lot of stuff going on in life. I feel like lately my hours have changed, and I'm kind of working more, and I'm kind of overworking myself, you know. I'm not an overachiever in any sense, but like just, you know, I like staying busy, I like, you know, if the job goes smooth, it goes, if I do good and you do good, we do good, the company does great. If I do good and you slacking, I got to cover your slack to keep the company up good. And right now, anyway, so yeah, that's what we're currently doing. I want to experience the end of Shaman King with you guys. And maybe by the time I'm finished, One Piece will be done. I ain't making a drink of One Piece. Y'all know I'm a huge One Piece fan. Hello. But One Piece still got so many secrets I got to reveal. But I've heard there's like 5 arcs left. So maybe Oda is almost done. Oda did about 5 more years. And just about 1 arc a year. And I feel like Elbaf is wrapping up. We're going to get to this final battle. We're going to wrap up with this flashback. I mean, this ain't a One Piece video. And this intro is already too long. So without further ado, let's get into Shaman King Volume 7. Now, where we last left off, I believe Yo was preparing for his final, like, fight in the preliminaries of the Shaman King tournament. If Yo loses this fight, he is out of the Shaman King tournament. And he has won one against Horo, my favorite character. And he has lost one against Faust. But that's because Faust got in his head. He was fucking with Morty. He was cutting up his best friend. His only friend and first human friend and only friend ever, by the way. You know, Honest's fiance. She a friend, but she more than that, though. The servant girl, I don't know if we already talked about her. I think we did talk about her. If we didn't talk about her, spoilers, but I think we did talk about her. We did, because she was in the last one. I forgot her name. Tamaga, whatever her name is. I want the little, the nasty fox spirit, the nasty, foxtail thing, them freaks, them nasty asshole creatures. She's also kind of like Yo's maid, so she's not really a friend. So, yeah, Morty was like his first friend. And so seeing Morty in danger, seeing Morty hurt, Yo was like obviously panicking. And then, he did lose that fight, but he was saved by Tao Ren, his third opponent, because Fox was going to kill him. Fox had won, but Yo had cut down Eliza. He had insulted Eliza, calling her a doll. So Fox was like, I don't care if the fight's over, bitch, you about to die regardless. Like, the fight's over. The referee was going to pop in there. Sybil was like, you know what, let me go ahead and take my earrings off. Fox, Anna was trying to jump up in there. She was like, come on, bitch, bring it. Come on. Anyway, that's how that ended. Tao Ren saved him. But Tao Ren didn't save Yo because he wanted to save Yo. He wanted to be the one to kill Yo. He wanted to be the one to defeat Yo. He wants to be the one to take Amidamaru from him because Yo embarrassed him the first time they fought. Yo defeated Tao Ren, who saw him as a slacker, saw him as some lazy bum. Ren's like, I got goals. I got something to do. And you, my next opponent, I ain't letting you die first. I get you. You coming to me, baby. You coming to me. And we find out way later that this is the very last fight. Every shaman that has entered has already won. They already made it into the main rounds. I'm not going to spoil who just yet. But it reminds of Ho Ho. No, it don't. Ho Ho the Ho. It's got Ho Ho in the name. But I be wildin'. We didn't got to the video yet. But yeah, so this is the last fight. So when Yo loses here, he's out of the tournament, and Ren moves on to the tournament. We don't know who Ren fought. I believe they say like Ren's only fought like once and won once, and like all he has to do is win one more, and he's in. So Ren's got stakes in this too. Obviously, last fight, but Ren didn't have to fight 3 times. Ren only had to fight twice, and Yo was his opponent. Funny how that works out. When the chapter begins, we see June has returned home to China. That's where, Ren had grew up. He's unlike, I think Yo's Japanese and Ren's Chinese. So very cool. I like learning that and seeing that different cultures clashing. And we see an intimidating father who is a giant and has a pet panda. Like, he's just like petting the panda, like he Dr. Evil or some shit. Big ass eyes. Looking like Big Mom. This is probably Big Mom ex-husband, okay? This is probably Big Mom daddy, okay? They just a crossover One Piece, just to add Big Mom. Say, hey, what's up? I'm going to tell Red too, bitch. Tell Big Mom. He tells June that there's no point in being Ren's educator any further because he tells her that June has no point in being Ren's educator because he wants to destroy their family. Like, he's like, oh, there's no more point for you training Yo. He wants to destroy our family. At first he seems like he's upset about it, but no, like he crushes his panda's head. We're gonna get to that, but he crushes that fucking panda's head, his little baby, and just like, oh, excellent, he loves that. Now, Tao June's looking uncomfortable. She like has one hand on her shoulder, she looks to the side, like she's like clearly like, intimidated by her father. And again, her father's a fucking giant, with a goddamn panda as a pet in his lap, just petting the bitch. We then flash forward to Silva and Chrome as they're hanging out in the spa, and they're having like a talk, and they're talking about the heat, because again, the proctors in the Shaman King tournament, they're broke. They don't get any money from like, entering this, like being the product of the Shaman King tournament. They could die, and their death is basically celebrated. They're like, oh, yay, that means we have a strong fighter. We have a strong king that's coming. And obviously, if you're a shaman, you don't fear death. You know what's on the other side. Like you can talk to your friends and other spirits and stuff like that. But, they had no fear of death. Chrome, now Silva was upset when Chrome had died, his best friend. Chrome, who loved to sing and dance. We're going to get to that later. He brings it up a lot. But, they're just like, oh, you should be happy, Silva. That means a strong fighter. And Ren is the one that killed Chrome. Ren is the one that killed Silva. They appear to be passing out because they're like, oh, man, I'm so tired. We're so broke. We have no money. We see that they've been forced to live together because, I already talked about that. Like, they don't get paid for this. They're ending the tournament because, they want a strong king. They want a strong Shaman King or Shaman Queen. I think the Shaman Queen would still be called Shaman King. But, yeah. Doesn't seem like an upside for them, despite they are happy for anyone to become shaman so long as they're strong. Yeah, we talked about that too. But their short hope is shattered when Goldblood tells them that he's got a request. Goldblood's like the old man that watches over all the proctors, all of the Patch tribe. But this is what they're called. They're called the Patch tribe. He tells Silva, like, you are now Ren's proctor. Ren's proctor Chrome died, and I know you're like Yo's proctor, but now you're gonna be a proctor of both of them. You're gonna be both of their students. And again, Chrome, who loved to sing and dance, was his best friend, was killed by Tao Ren. And Tao Ren could just turn around and kill Silva if he wanted to. Silva can't do nothing about it. Ren's in the Shaman King tournament. Silva got to accept that death if Ren try to kill him. So he's like, you have to remember, like, oh yeah, I've already talked about this. Again, I'll be repeating myself in my notes, but I was talking about how, like, this is their whole motivation is to watch over the next Shaman King. It don't matter if Tao Ren killed your best friend. It don't matter if he kills you. Like, our job is to watch over the next Shaman King. Our job is basically to watch, groom, and protect the next Shaman King. So if I tell you to watch over Ren, and I tell you to watch over Yo, that's your responsibility. If one kills the other, boo-da-da-boo. And again, I spoiled something earlier about specifically Silva, his backstory, something I hadn't remembered about him. So that even adds more to, the fuckery that Goldberg got going on. But it's actually the Great Spirit. The Great Spirit knows all. He sees all. He's got a plan, and he's telling, like, Silva, like, it's a test for you, too. You got to prove your loyalty to the Shaman King. You got to prove that you can set your differences aside and welcome whoever wins or loses. Meanwhile, back with Tao Jun and their father, he actually doesn't mind that Tao Ren is being insubordinate to their family mission. He thinks it'll make him a strong Shaman King. So Ren's father's like, oh, Tao Jun, I ain't even mad that, Ren wants to destroy our whole family. Like, I think it makes him strong. I think, like, this rebellion, this teenage phase here, I don't know, this anger, that's going to make him the strongest one in the tournament. He's going to want to kill me. He wants to kill me. Baby, come kill me. Because when you become the Shaman King, you'll get our revenge for us. That's what he's thinking. Ultimately, he still believes that Tao Ren will avenge their clan, who was banished to China. He said that they were betrayed by the masses and ridiculed, and at all the same time, crushing his pet panda with his bare hands. Oh, this is where he crushes his pet panda. He's like, I don't know what happened to the Tao family. I don't remember that arc exactly. I know it's the next arc, but yeah, like. They're like, oh, we got ridiculed, we got made fun of. It might be like what Ren's grandfather said at the beginning of the chapter, like the beginning of the story, like, shamans don't get paid anymore. People think like we're just like talking to like, hey, I'm getting a name. I name an A. No, not A. Angela, Anthony, Arnold, that's what they think, it's a joke. So no one believes in shamans anymore. So they probably were ridiculed and shunned away and like, oh, get your voodoo, wushu shit out of here. They probably said that to them, and these are actual shamans. They actually believe in God. They can see spirits. They protect Earth. They watch over the Holy Land and all that. So he also tells June in a dark, joking way that he used too much force. As he killed his panda, he's like, oh, man. Oh, how unfortunate. I ain't gonna crush it. I ain't gonna kill it. Crazy work. You a giant and you got a goddamn panda as a pet. And you accidentally crushed it, bitch. Anyway, but he goes on to say that the Tao clan needs to destroy anything and anyone who would get in their way, and he asks June to go to Ren's side and destroy all who would oppose him. He's like, you know what? Don't let nobody get in Ren's way. Go out there, you support him. You, if he wants to destroy us, you go out there and you help him. You kill me. You kill me with my son. Kill me with your brother. I want him to become strong. I want him to get revenge for all of us. As long as everybody else burns in hell, I'll go to hell too and be happy. That's exactly. I'll vacation there, baby. I got a whole fucking what I be talking about? I got a whole condo in hell. That's what he's saying. He then reveals to us all the puppet zombies he has. Hundreds that the Tao family possibly killed, just like Lee or what's his name? Lee Parson. Her main spirit, her main the one that was represented after Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee and Ip Man. He was modeled after that. They want to make them just part of their zombie soldiers. They want to make them a part of their army. They're like, oh yeah, we killed people over thousands of years. We're gonna keep killing people. We're gonna add them to our army. We're gonna have the most unstoppable force ever. So when Ren does become Shaman King, oh yeah, we take over the world. We destroying everybody. That's pretty much what he's saying. Back with Silva and Kareem, they're protesting against Goba that anyone else should be Ren's proctor, especially after he killed, Ren killed his best friend, which again was Chrome. He loved to sing and dance again. That's Silva's whole thing. I guess that's the one thing Silva knows him for, two things Silva knows for. He's singing and he dancing, Ain't nothing wrong with that. If Chrome was that kind of happy, just, like Gear Fifth Luffy, just making everybody dance to the beat, ain't nothing wrong with that. But Goldberg says that one of the reasons why, and he also knows because he's going to attach to Yo. Again, it's like a test for you, Silva. Like, you're going to attach to Yo. You cannot get attached to anybody because if Yo dies in this tournament, don't be thinking like, you don't want to see anybody else in the tournament. You want to give up. No, you have to push through and watch the rest of the tournament. You have to support. If Ren kills Yo, you got to see Ren all the way through the Shaman King. You got to help him. You got to train him. I don't care if you have a secret with some kind of relationship, not relationship, or I guess that would work too. You got a relationship, because obviously relationships like brother, sister, mom, uncle, whatever. But whatever your relation to Yo, you better put that aside. You can't get attachments in this tournament. He goes on to say that it's unfair to favor one over the other. That's why he's putting his two trainees against each other. He's like, yeah, you gonna pick a side, pretty much. We didn't see the stats of Tao Ren and Yo Asakura. Like when CP9 ranked each other in that cool thing, when like the bat one like had said, oh, let's rank each other. I'm gonna try to clip that in here. It might get taken out, but like apparently, Ren objectively has more spiritual power than Yo, but Yo has a stronger spirit ally than Ren, which we have seen that Amidamaru has surpassed Basan. Basan, who's like 1,600 years old, is like a battle warrior of the past, had a war horse and all that. Ren's like stronger than Yo in power, but Amidamaru is just a samurai that was known as like I think Amidamaru the Fiend, and we know the real truth about Amidamaru, but like Amidamaru, he's just stronger, even though he's a human spirit too. Or they both called Earth spirits. The following day, Yo seems to be getting prepared for his final preliminary match in the Shaman King tournament against Ren, and he actually seems excited. It's very rare that we see Yo, like, happy and smiling for a fight, because he's usually laid back. But I am saying, and this is kind of what I modeled Shinry after, Shinry kind of had a laid back personality like Yo. But when it comes to battles, Yo kind of gets excited. That's kind of Shinry too. Shinry's kind of laid back until the fight's coming up, and he's like, oh, I'm ready to fight. Let's do this. And then once again, Yo's next fight is in a cemetery. I don't know what the thing with the cemeteries is lately, but Yo is fighting another cemetery. Probably getting him and Morty, PSD from like 3 months ago of Morty almost dying in the tournament. And yeah, Morty is understandably nervous again in the cemetery. Yo, on the other hand, is just calmly eating ice cream. Yo's like, hey, you ain't gotta be here, I'm glad you're here, Morty, but you ain't gotta, be in the cemetery. It'll be fine, Morty. Just relax, calm down. I got this. Even surprisingly, Anna stayed home and didn't come to attend this fight, as she's determined that this is Yo's fight. I think Tamura's like, hey, Anna, why aren't you there supporting Yo? And Yo's like, a wife's job is to stay at home and cook and clean and, do the dishes and make sure that the man has a full meal when he comes home. But his job is to fight, And even what's funny is that, like, she didn't even want to cook and clean it. She's telling Tomio to do it. That's what her name. And so Tomio seems more extremely worried about Yo than Anna does. But Anna, we already know her basically, like, that's just her personality. She is, Anna is Yo's wife. Tomio is in love with Yo, but she's just like an admirer. She can never be Anna. She can never place Anna's, side. But, Anna's like, yeah, you still the maid of this family. You still the maid of the Ashikura family. So I ain't cooking and cleaning, but you're going to make sure my man got a nice meal when he get home. Okay, get your ass in the kitchen. She goes on to say that Yo's gained something, but Anna doesn't reveal what it is. Obviously, it's that Yo's found his first true friend, and of course, he trusts Yo, and Yo trusts Morty, and Anna trusts Yo. So Yo's got something that he never had before. He's got a true friend, one that won't abandon him no matter what, and wants to stay by his side. She didn't tell, this is where she tells Tomio to prepare a piece for him, because she's like, she believes he'll win, and of course she does. And she asks Tomio to do some shopping. So our old Anna's back. Our old Anna's still in there. Oh, Anna, she being nice Tomio now, but she's like, hey, get your ass back in the kitchen. Matter of fact, go do some shopping while you're at it. I need some things, some clothes, I need some food, I need some ingredients. Go ahead, girl, make a piece for him, my man. But as Ren and Basan arrive at the battle, we can see the expressions and the atmosphere around Yo and Midamaru change. Yo is just sitting there, a shadow over his eyes. I always love that effect in manga, how you can tell a character's serious and on the shadows over their eyes. It's a simple thing, but when you know a character who's happy and calm and always excited, when you see him acting serious like that, you know shit's about to get real. There's an intensity in Midamaru's eyes that again, we see him when the Midamaru gets serious. We see him when the Fiend comes out. I do love Ren's entrance, though, as he's standing on the war horse that once belonged to Basan 1,800 years ago. I think it's 1,800, not 1,600 years ago. And they leapt in the cemetery over the trees, and it's really cool panel. I think in the anime, 4Kids kind of did it too, but in the manga, nothing beats manga versus anime. Anime can have some cool scenes, yes, but manga, I don't know, the detail that some of these manga artists put in there is just fucking phenomenal. Surprisingly, though, Ren does see Yo as a potential threat in becoming the Shaman King. He admits that his first thought to Yo was real. It was accurate. Yo didn't win by fluke. He's like, you have a power that I can't ignore. I acknowledge you. Just like when the devil had fought Asta, Lucifero, and Asta and all the other knights had fought him, and even though the devil was strong, he was like, I acknowledge you. I see your power. But Yo isn't intimidated at all. In fact, he's his calm, smiling, and laughing demeanor as always. He's just like, hey, Ren, nice to see you. You ain't changed a bit. Because he says he can't help it. It's just how, Ren is. Ren makes him laugh. Ren's like, why are you so goofy right now? And Ren's like, and Yo's like, oh, it's just me. That's how I am, And he's like, and you can't help it either. That's how you are, Ren. You're serious. You're angry. That's how you are. However, Yo does acknowledge that he can't lose to Ren either. So this is when Yo gets kind of serious. He's like, laughs and giggles aside, Ren, I can't lose to you either. I'm taking this fight serious as you, Otherwise, he'd be kicked out of the Shaman King tournament. So it's a battle that neither side can afford to lose. Obviously, they both have to win. And obviously, no, we ain't gonna do that. But, obviously, Ren has to win this fight. Yo has to win this fight for their own motivations, for their own reasons to become Shaman King. Ren is odd, though, not just because Yo laughed, but because he physically looks the same. But he also senses something different about him. He's like, Yo looks. Remember when Yo came out the cave, and they were like, what? He looks exactly the same. He ain't lose no food. He ain't lose no weight. He ain't do nothing. He was just hungry when he came out. Walking for 7 days, 7 nights, just in a straight line, not even thinking about anything. He just walked right out of the cave, look exactly the same, not stronger. But he does say, like, there is something still different about you. I don't know what it is. It ain't physical, but it's spiritual for sure. For a moment, Ren is afraid he could actually lose for a second time. Ren's like, okay, I might have to shut my A game up. Like, maybe Yo is that bitch. Maybe he about to take his crown from me, you know? Basan, however, is immediately angry that Yo, it seems like he's taunting Ren and charges forward on his own, but is met mid-swing by Mitamaru. Now, the only thing wrong with this is that the Shaman King bell has not started. The bell for the tournament has not started. And that's kind of what Foster did to Yo originally at first, too. Foster, the way he had tricked Yo and expended all his mana, or Furyoku, was, experimenting on Morty before the fight had began, and by the time the fight began, Yo was already very short on Furyoku, so even if, Foster didn't kill Yo, as long as Yo's Furyoku ran out before the 10 minutes was up, or by the time the 10 minutes up, Foster's like, I win. So, it is kind of illegal to attack before the fight starts. But since, I've already talked about this. So, Yo calls Mitamaru back, but thanks him for saving him, laughing all the while, which pisses Ren off even more, who thinks Yo is making a fool out of him. He's like, oh, this guy hasn't changed. I don't know what I'm feeling, I don't know what I'm sensing from him, but nothing has changed. He's the exact same idiot that I fought before. So, I'm not worried about him. I can't believe I thought for a second I would lose. And so he's just like, you're someone that got lucky because he's so relaxed, and he brushes off that he was ever afraid of him. Even saying that Yo will never see his full power. He's like, Yo, you're an ant to me. You a rookie to me. Like Nicki Minaj, you a rookie to me. He's like, I ain't got to use my full strength. Like, you ain't worth the time. I'm going to squash you like a bug before this fight even starts. But before I even have to get serious, I'm going to win this fight. As Ren goes on to taunt Yo, Yo points out that Ren grew taller, and the writer throws in a joke that Ren drinks milk 3 times a day, which I actually have heard as a kid, and I used to drink milk a lot too. I think I drink milk at least twice a day as a kid. I just love milk. I still kind of do, but just not as much as I did as a kid. And then the time comes. The bell for the signal of the timer goes off, and the 10-minute Shaman fight has started. If Ren or Yo dies, the winner is decided. If one of the other expends all of their, Furyoku or mana, the fight's over. If one's incapacitated, can't fight, can't stop, the fight's over. So there's 3 ways to win. So if either one of them lose, the fight, or either one of those events happen, if Ren or Yo run up Furyoku before the time's up, if Ren or Yo is incapacitated, can't fight or stand up, and if Ren or Yo, obviously die, the fight before time's up, the fight's over and the winner's decided. So, again, epic shit. I'm gonna take a quick break. My throat's feeling kind of like, wet and whatever, or dry right now. So I'm gonna take a break. Probably will come back and we'll finish the rest of this video all in one go. So there's not that many breaks. Anyways, so we'll continue this very shortly. One other thing is I love this panel of both of their blades and the characters' eyes glaring at each other, including Morty for some reason, and the horse is just glaring forward and Morty's glaring. And then we get a view of the moon, and it's just like that, that old Japanese, thing where they show the moon and you hear a clash. I could hear it in my head, even though it's just a manga panel, but when a drawing speaks to you like that, you can just feel it, Ren charges down at Yo with the dark expression over his eyes, clearly going for a one-hit kill because Ren doesn't think Yo is serious. He's like, you know what, I'm going to end this fight before it even gets started. Yo is over. I ain't going to use my full power. It's done. And with his oversoul forming a fist, it seems like Ren might be able to end it, as Yo has yet to form his own oversoul. Ren's already formed his oversoul, and Yo's still just standing there relaxed, probably dazed off, probably in the middle of thinking. And this was the same oversoul that was used to defeat Faust, fully powered one in one swing. So I was like, oh no, Yo, we ain't seen the results of your training. I mean, we saw the results, but we haven't seen it since then. I don't know, maybe Ren's gonna take you out. He says that it's shining gold, even though at one point it's blinding Manta. So in the manga, you obviously can't see that it's shining. I think the anime kind of did that, the 4Kids version, but I think they glossed over it again. I think it's just something you have to know from the manga. But apparently Ren's oversoul is so bright, it's blinding. The destruction that follows in this next panel is pretty cool, but we also see that Yo did form his oversoul in time. Even more, he's unharmed. So Yo, in the nick of time, formed his oversoul. He's not cut up or anything, so Yo Good job, bro. I doubted you for a second. I shouldn't have doubted you, though. You the second goat. You the second goat. Ren, in his own way, compliments Yo's oversoul, to which, once again, Yo, calm, smiling, and relaxed, just says thanks. And you just know that's going to piss Ren off a third time. But I do like that Ren was just like, oh, that's an interesting oversoul you have, because, again, Basan and Amidamaru are both human spirits, I think, because Basan was the spirit of a soldier from 1600 years ago, and Amidamaru is a samurai spirit from, what was it, 800 years ago, 500 years ago, so, they're both human spirits, because I know, Ren's grandfather was it's interesting that, or was it Silva? One of them was it's interesting that Amidamaru's spirit bends to your will, because normally, a human spirit can't do that, versus, a nature spirit. We also see that Ren can teach. We also see Ren teach Yo a trick about using his oversoul, as he puts more aryoku or mana into his feet and uses it for an incredible burst of speed, charging towards him with a lance-like thrust. I do kind of remember this in the anime and manga. What Ren essentially does is kind of gives himself a boost. He's oh, I'm trying to think about anime that did something similar, but I feel like it's escaped me. I guess was it Yu Yu Hakusho? Did he use spirit gun to blast himself forward? Maybe that was Kamehameha. It might have been Goku that did something like that. There's definitely some anime characters that use their power to give themselves a boost. It seems at first that Ren is overwhelming Yo in power, as Yo can't seem to keep up with Ren's brute force of relentless attacks. Yo is just taking hit after hit after hit. Ren's just oh, how dare you, slacker? You see, this is the difference between you and me. This is the difference between somebody that's strong and trained and somebody that's got lucky. But to Ren's surprise, Yo seems to have blocked all his attacks without even looking in Ren's direction. Ren's just what the fuck? Ren and Morty are genuinely confused because Yo isn't even a Zord master. And I remember for the first time reading this in the manga, I was shocked too. But oh yeah, it's the reveal. I love this reveal. That's what it was. So I think Yo is blocking Ren, or he blocks Ren's attack without looking at him. He's just looking forward and Ren's attacking from the side, and Ren and Yo kind of just blocks him. It's because now that Yo's oversoul has evolved and Amidamaru has eyes and he can now see and talk, he cannot act on his own even as Yo's blade. So even though Yo is looking forward, because Amidamaru has eyes in oversoul form, he can manipulate Yo's hand to move as he needs to, because Amidamaru is a Zord master, whereas Yo, unless he's integrated with him, doesn't have those abilities. And then Yo says that this is his style of fighting, of using his oversoul and using his own version of Amidamaru. Oh yeah, no, Yo says that this is his version of oversoul, letting Amidamaru take control of his body as he needs to. And then he uses his own version of Amida style slicing wave. He calls it slicing wave space attack or something like that. I don't know, this was the 90s, okay? The names were dope back then. Obviously, it don't sound as cool now in 2026, but in 1990s, in the early 1990s, these attacks were dope. The attack is so strong, unlike Ren, it sends Ren flying far away, surprising Morty and Ren himself again. Yo is just Amidamaru space slicing wave, Amida style space slicing wave, and Ren just goes flying he got hit by Gum Gum Kong gun or whatever, he's got hit by Luffy. He just went flying. But watching from afar, Silva and his spirits, they're watching the battle because, again, Silva is the proctor for Yo and Ren. He is allowed to pick sides, so he's watching both sides. And the spirits are okay, Yo's got this in the bag. Yo's about to win. And Silva's no. And despite Yo seems like he did a lot of damage to Ren, in reality, Silva's he didn't do anything. That might have just blew him back. You might have blew a gust of wind, blew him off his feet, but you didn't do him any damage. He goes on to say that Ren has only used 1/10 of his power. Bitch. I was what do you mean 1/10 of his power? I was oh my god, we got another boss fight all over again, okay? At first, you would think it was a joke or a one-off comment, but Ren puts more mana or aryoku into his oversoul, and it evolves a second time, this time becoming the armor that Basan wears over his shoulders and chest, over the tip of his blade, kind of sticking out. You'll see it in the panel. Well, basically, it's a pseudo armor with Ren's staff sticking straight out through the center. After once again using his mana to explode off his feet, he charges at Yo with the force of a speed of a bullet. And though it seems like Yo would block it again, I knew this time that Yo would be the one sent flying. Because, obviously, writers, we like to do that. If one character gets sent flying one time, you got to do it to the other character to just show, there's a balance in the fight. Yo is launched into the air where, if you know anything about fighting, if you're free falling in the air, you can't dodge. So right now, Ren is beneath him. He's launched Yo into the sky. Yo is free falling, even with the Midamaru, as his blade, there's not much he can do once he starts falling back to the ground. But Ren isn't even worried about that. Ren is not going to wait for Yo to come down to him. He's going to go after him. He decides to put more mana into his Oversoul, once again launching himself from the ground and propelling himself straight up like a rocket right after Yo. Ren's like, oh no, this ain't done. I'm not stopping. I'm in this fight quickly. I told you it was over. Yo does manage to briefly block his attack, getting shears from the spirit animals with Silva, but there seems to be something wrong as Ren is smiling. So even though Yo somehow blocked Ren's attack mid-air while falling, Ren is still smiling, so something's wrong here. We didn't see that Basan's other arm has materialized, and at first I thought maybe this was Ren's arm, I thought he was going to punch Yo with his free arm, but it was Basan formed under the arm, and he basically punches Yo back down to the earth. So he put more mana or foryoku into his Oversoul to basically send Yo back down. I think he sent him down a double hit, forgot what that's called. Not an overdrive, but whatever it's called. He basically hammers him down to the ground, and it creates a massive crater when Yo smashes into the earth. And for a finisher, he gets, this is where he gave Basan one arm, because this is where he gets Basan two arms. But I thought he materialized one arm. No, it was the armor first, and then he put more Furyoku to blast himself up. And then while he was in the air, okay, that's right, because first it was just a suit of armor with the blade sticking out. I'm remembering as I go, guys. But yeah, for a finisher, he does an overdrive attack from above. And so the only thing left to materialize at this point is Basan's lower half, because after Yo's has become a crater into the ground, Basan smashes him down with the overdrive. And that's when Yo was okay, he's taking some serious damage. Yo uses his Oversoul as a cushion for his fall, but he still takes damage, and it extinguishes Oversoul briefly, making Silva and his spirits, along with Mori, afraid that he could lose this match. So I think Yo was still in the air when he got punched by Basan, and then he did it again with the overdrive, and that smashed him down, because it says that Yo created a cushion for himself. Or either that, or Yo was already in the ground, and then I guess when he tried to hit him again, maybe Yo created a cushion with his Oversoul. I can't really remember that exact part. I'm reading my notes, I'm trying to remember. But I know the panel will show it off. But immediately, Yo in the next panel restores it, and everyone is relieved. Because again, even if your Oversoul is just extinguished, you can restore it until you run out of Furyoku completely. So your Oversoul can go out, but you can restore it, obviously, until you run out of mana or Furyoku. But Silva surprisingly is the one who notes that Yo's move was reckless, making his spirits think that he was rooting for Ren. He's oh, are you on Ren's side? And Silva's no, again, I'm not on either side, but, just being fair, observant, Yo is being reckless with his Furyoku right now. He then reveals why. He goes into detail that says Yo's Oversoul takes 30% of his power, while Ren's Oversoul uses 100% of his power. The only difference is that Yo's mana has dropped so far this entire fight, whereas Ren's Oversoul is still at 100%. He goes on to say that Yo's power dropped because his Oversoul was destroyed, while Ren's Oversoul has only been destroyed, or hasn't been destroyed even once. Yeah, so destroying somebody's Oversoul and then restoring it, reduces your mana, but since Yo's using 30% of his mana, every time he restores it, it's 30% of that Furyoku that he's got to bring it back. And if Ren's is ever destroyed, it takes 100% of his Furyoku to restore it. So it comes down to, if Yo can't destroy Ren's Oversoul, even if Ren's chipping away at Yo's Oversoul the entire time and destroying it over and over again, Ren will win by default. Ren can win by just destroying Yo's Oversoul and making him run out of mana. Whereas Yo would have to break Ren's Oversoul 3 times. I think Ren's has I think Ren has like 310. So if it's 100% takes his oversoul, yeah, it would take, because I think I said 3, but it's 4. It would take about 4 times. 3 would destroy it 100%. 3 would destroy it 300%. And he had that 10% left. Whereas Yo, he's running very low because it's been like several times since Yo's oversoul has been destroyed. And we're going to find out about when that happened. Meanwhile, Ren is now the one laughing and quite enjoying himself, feeling like he's redeemed himself from ever losing to Yo in the first place. He's like, ha, I can't believe I ever lost to this loser. I'm about to obliterate you. I'm about to enter the Shaman King tournament, and you're the last opponent I have. Oh, this is amazing. Ren's having the best day of his life. Morty, watching this, is worried that Yo is going to lose, and he tries to think of anything he can do to help. And then he remembers that Anna might have the answer, and he tries to call her, but he says that their phone doesn't work, or something like that. Like, I think Morty makes a one-off comment. He's like, "Oh, I'm going to try to call Anna." He's like, "Oh, they don't have phones at their house," something like that. So he decides to try to catch a taxi all the way back to Yo's mansion, hoping to make it back in time before the fight. And all I can think is, if the fight is 10 minutes, and the fight's already been happening, let's say for a minute. Let's just assume a minute. And the fight's been happening for a minute now, and you just called a taxi, so let's say 8 minutes, and you're trying to catch a taxi back to Yo's house, and then back to the fight. How close do they live for a taxi? What, the taxi, is it a teleporter? Do you got instant transmission? Like, how the hell you gonna make it back in less than 8 minutes? 9 to 8 minutes. 8 minutes to be 8 minutes to be the lowest, 9 minutes to max, honestly, saying that they've been fighting and we're trying to catch up with the fight. Honestly, I'd say 7, because if Yo's mana for Yo oversoul has been destroyed several times, I would imagine that Ren had did that in minutes, in 2 minutes or a minute. But who knows? So let's say 7. Let's just go with 7. How are you going to make it to Anna's house and back to the fight before 7 minutes is up? I don't know. I think that's crazy work. But I guess we'll already see. Well, guess we'll see what happens. Yo understands, though, that Ren can create a bigger oversoul and help Basan form arms and full upper body by putting more mana into it. But he tells me tomorrow he refuses to do the same thing. Yo's like, I understand what Ren's doing to create a bigger oversoul and make it stronger, but I don't want to do that. And the reason why, Yo says he will get too tired that way. That's our boy Yo. He likes it this way, and obviously it shocks, everyone but himself. Amidamaru is shocked, Basan is shocked, Ren is shocked, and Yo's like, yeah, I can do what you're doing, Ren. I can make Amidamaru bigger, but I like the way this is right now. I like the way I'm fighting already. Now, one thing I remember from the 4Kids anime is that, well, that's spoilers because it doesn't happen in this volume, but we'll talk about that later. But Yo also has a good reason, as he goes on to say, and it's not just a joke. Yo says that he learned that in his fight with Boss, he believes he lost because he pushed himself too far. Yo thinks in the fight with Boss, he forced himself to do things that he's not comfortable with. He's forced himself to do things that are his norm. That that's not himself. So Yo's like, as long as I stay calm, as long as I stay me, as long as I'm fighting the way I know how to fight, everything will work out. And so I do kind of like Yo's response. He goes on to say, as well, that he also learned in the cave, because remember what Yo said, he started worrying about the future and the current situations, and it made his brain hurt. So he stopped thinking to the point that he was like, I'm just going to keep walking forward, and eventually I'll even crawl out if I have to until I get my way out of here. Like, I'm just going to keep going forward, and somehow I'll get out. Because that's just Yo. Yo was like, I don't want to overthink. I don't want to feel too heavy. I don't want to feel burdened. There's already a lot going on. I had to win the Shaman King tournament, so, I'm just going to keep going. Well, expanding on the way he said that, he felt like he was pushing himself into an unpleasant person that wasn't himself, and it doesn't make him feel like himself. So he starts overthinking and can't differentiate between what he should do versus what he can't do, or what he can do versus what he can't do. So that's why he decided he's not going to do what he can't do. He decides he would just trust in me tomorrow and everything will work out. Basically what I just said. But yeah, I do like that. I like that Yo's like, Amidamaru, I trust in you. I'm not going to push myself to do something I know I can't do. That's just going to exhaust me. So, Amidamaru, trust in me, I trust in you, we'll do this. And Amidomaru is, of course, shocked by how much faith Yo has put in him, and Ren yells that that's just the thought of a weakling, someone making excuses that doesn't know how to fight. And again, he doesn't understand Yo and Amidomaru's relationship. Like, Amidomaru understands Yo not just because they integrated, but because Yo has already proven time and time again that he trusts Amidomaru fully. And we've seen that with Tokagero, we've seen that with the fire when Yo went into the firehouse, you know, or the house was on fire and a fire member coming. We've seen all that, so we know that who Yo is, you know. So once again, Ren, pissed off, just thinking Yo is just making excuses, puts all of his power into Basan once more and prepares to crush Yo and Amidomaru between his massive fist. And Silva and his spirits appear worried now, but it's Silva this time that is smiling. So the tables have turned. Silva's spirits are afraid that Ren's going to win, but Silva started smiling. Is it because he's on Ren's side? Obviously not. I knew it was because of Yo for whatever reason. He goes on to say that Amidomaru is a child with a Zord or I think Silva says this. Silva goes on to say that Amidomaru as a child with the Zord had to fight off adults and people that were bigger and stronger than him to protect his friends. It's no different in this situation that an oversoul bigger than his own can fend off, you know, Basan, who is a nearly fully formed oversoul. If Amidomaru had that will as a child, if Amidomaru had that will as a child and a human, he should be able to do the same as an adult spirit. And of course it works. Yo's blade pierces through Ren's oversoul and it pops like a balloon. Bigger isn't always better. That's what that proves. Ren was like, what the fuck? How the fuck did you destroy my oversoul by just piercing one spot? And maybe Amidomaru just found the weakness of the oversoul. Or maybe because, like he said, or Silva said, Amidomaru's will is stronger. As a child, Amidomaru protected his friends from bandits, from Tokagero specifically, because him and other bandits were trying to kill him to get to his friends and steal their food or whatever. And don't forget, Amidomaru's best friend sacrificed his father's knife to create him that Zord so that, you know, he could protect them. And now Ren has over 250 oversoul power, and Ren only has 210 left. So, not super low, but Ren, if his oversoul gets destroyed 3 more times, yes, he'll run out, because 2 more times, 100%, he'll have 50% left, and then Yo has 7 more chances to have his oversoul destroyed. So now that now that Yo can destroy Ren's oversoul, Ren is starting to realize how much trouble he's in. He's like, oh, you were the threat I thought you were. I did have a reason to come into this fight being afraid, But Ren kind of also believes it was just luck. He's like, no, that was just one random luck. He resummons his oversoul in full form immediately and goes straight down Yo again in one blow. He's like, oh, that was just I must have got caught off guard. There's no way you'll do that again. But Yo, guided again by Amidomaru, who's an expert in battle and combat and swordsmanship, shows Yo how to dodge and counter. Really fucking cool. Really cool. And then after the dodges, Yo just calmly is like, whoa, that was close. Which just triggered the hell out of Ren. Oh my god. It reminds me of the Simpsons movie whenever the cop was about to eat that donut and the gun's about to go off in his mouth. He's like, whoa, that was close.
Oh, you better hurry. They're going fast. Whoa, that was close.
Stupid. And then Ren uses his ultimate attack, Super Golden Chinese style attack, where Basan basically essentially grabs the weapon and stabs at him like Luffy's Gatling gun. And it's really cool panel. And I don't know if One Piece I got that from them or, everything's been done before, but I really did like it. Ren at first seems like he obliterated Yo with the technique, destroying as much of the landscape with it. Silva and his spirits think that it could be the end of Yo, but in his blind rage, he failed to notice that Yo dodged in time and is floating right next to him. So, not only in his blind rage of attacking with that Chinese Gatling gun did he miss Yo, but he also lost sight of Yo. And I'm also mistaking something that I just said, but I'll correct myself in a second. But he lost sight of Yo. He lost track of Yo in that blind rage. Yo then counters him with an Yo then counters the off-guarded Ren by slicing Basan into pieces and breaking his oversoul for a second time. Now putting Ren at less oversoul power than Yo, who still had 210, and now Ren has 150. Ren is so baffled, he even asks how did Yo manage to dodge his ultimate technique, and then Yo simply replies, I didn't dodge it. And that's when we learn the truth. So that's why I was like, I thought Yo had dodged it, but I had mistaken my notes. In fact, Yo was hit 4 times already, and this is his 7th time restoring his oversoul, which confused me for a bit, because I was like, Yo's oversoul power was 210, and now Yo's oversoul power was 270. He was at 210, so if his oversoul got destroyed 4 times, it should be, let's see, the 120. So he should have an oversoul power 150. I think they're both the same. They both have an oversoul power 150, because if Yo's oversoul was destroyed 4 times, well, no, 5, because it'd be 5 because his oversoul was destroyed previously once before this. So that'd be 150. So Yo's Moreni per Yoku or Mana would be 120, and then Ren's oversoul power would be 150. That's what it should be, if my math is mathing. Before the fight continues, we flash over to Foss sitting before a mirror, thinking about Eliza, and this time he's in a wheelchair. I don't remember why he was in a wheelchair. I don't think that's ever explained. It might be, but I know Yo didn't break his legs, and obviously if his legs are broken, he could just replace them with any bones in the graveyard. But I remember this in the anime and manga, but I can't remember if it was like significant. I don't remember if that ever comes up explaining why he's in a wheelchair. Anyways, this is a brief glimpse of Faust. Yo's power is now somewhere near 90, so yeah, that doesn't make sense. Oh, he did say the 7th time he restored his oversoul. He did say that, so that does make more sense. Okay, but it was destroyed 4 times during that battle. Anyways, though this should be incredibly bad and terrifying for Yo, he's smiling, which confuses Silva's spirits, but that's when Silva tells them why Yo is smiling. Ren is so blinded by anger that he didn't realize that he had already cut down he destroyed Yo's oversoul 4 times already, and all of his attacks were working. So because Ren is so blinded by rage and Yo is so calm, Yo only has to destroy Ren's oversoul 2 more times, while Ren has to destroy Yo's oversoul 3 more times. Like, this is anybody's battle at this point. It could go either way. That's why Silva's like, the fight's not over until it's over. It could go to either side. The fact that Ren keeps getting blinded by rage is going to cost him to lose the fight if he doesn't calm down. Whereas Yo is always calm, always like collected. He doesn't have to worry about calming down. Meanwhile, outside of the battle, for the first time, we can see others that are watching this fight, including my favorite character, Horo. There are some teasers of other shamans that I've seen in the Shaman King 4Kids anime. I don't remember all these in the manga, although, like I said, I finished the manga to a certain extent, just never read the ending of the manga, so I'm not sure who all of them are. But his sister is there too, scolding him for being excited for his enemy's battle, because Horo was like, yes, Yo, win this fight. It's just like, hey, you idiot, that's the guy that beat you in the Shaman King tournament second round of the preliminaries. Don't cheer for him. And also, don't cheer for, even if, you know, well, yeah, that's why she's like, don't cheer for him. Like, she hopes he loses. She hopes both of them loses. We then learned that Horo made it past prelims and is now in the main tournament himself. He won his other fight. So congrats to my favorite character, along with the other shamans in the bar. Yo's and Ren's fight appears to be the last one, and of course, you know, Foss made it as well, because Foss is there watching the fight as well. But all of these fighters are watching Yo and Ren's fight, so they're going to see who the last fighter is. They're going to see how strong they are and what kind of techniques they can use. It also turns out, and this is where you learn the unfair thing, Ren has 1 win and 0 losses, unlike Yo, who has 1 win and 1 loss. So it turns out there's a limited number of, not just limited number of proctors, but limited number of battlers, because how many fights they could have had. Because the fact that Ren didn't have a second fight before this, or is going to have another fight after this, if he lost to Yo, means that, like, yeah, there was enough fighters for everybody. Like, some people only had to fight twice, Yo had to fight 3 times. Maybe because Yo won 1 and lost 1, that's why he had to fight again. I think that happens sometimes in, like, you know, tournament arcs. So, like, one person that fights twice and somebody has to fight 3 times, I think. Whew. I'm talking a lot today. But as it flipped through the various other shamans who won the prelims, I only recognized 2 different groups. I know they're the 4Kids anime, and they might show up later in the manga. You might recognize them too. I'm gonna show them off for a few seconds. We didn't get a tease of someone that looks like Yo Asakura, who, if you don't know, I won't spoil it yet. But if you know, you know. Back at the battle, Ren decided to stop holding back and give it everything he's got, as he's got a reason to beat Yo. No, to win the Shaman King tournament. Ren's like, I don't care about you, Yo. I have to win this fight. Nothing else matters. I have to win the Shaman King tournament. We then get a glimpse of Yo's backstory mirrored. Ren's backstory. A glimpse of Ren's backstory. It kind of mirrors what happened in Makinu III's backstory in the Sword of Light. Whenever like Makinu III, or one of them, Makinu III, I think part of his backstory was mirrored off of Tao Ren because of the mark of Tao, which you'll learn about later and stuff like that. But there was a scene in here that kind of inspired that, and you'll recognize it if you when I talk about it. But Ren, as a child, wondered why do people die, why do people kill, and why are their souls so foul? Like as a child, he grew up in blood. You know, he didn't really have a normal childhood. And it turns out that Ren had not. Did I skip over something? I think I skipped over something. No, I don't think I wrote it in here. But basically, like Ren talks about like he was born in blood and he saw blood his entire life, and you know he was raised in revenge and all that too. And so Makinu III kind of had like a backstory similar to that, but not exactly. And it turns out that Ren had not been using the spirit of the horse inside of Basan. He had not been using Basan's horse spirit yet, so now he puts the spirit of the horse into. He puts the horse spirit into the horse now. I forgot the names of the horse. And he also fully charges one last oversoul of Basan, hoping that the last two will trample Yo and finish him off in one go. So now I think Yo is using Ren's using like 200% of his power, or the whole 150, because he's got the horse spirit, and now he's got Basan fully powered oversoul. So he's like, you know, I'm in this fight right here, right now. And we can see the power and the destruction from their fused oversoul as one swing of Ren's blade obliterates the air around them, shocking Midamaru and Yo. They're like, Midamaru and Yo. They're like, whoa. The power of these two combined is insane. Boston comes to join the watch party with Horohoro, and he comments that Yo and the boy that destroyed Eliza's the boy who destroyed Eliza's legs, and Ren, who got in the way of his revenge, are fighting. He's like, I don't care which one of them wins. If both of them die, that's good for me. If one of them wins, I'll kill them. And all Horohoro says is like, you pervert. Like, I mean, that's so random. What do you call him a pervert for? But I don't know. But yeah, that's where we learned that Faust is in the tournament. I think I had skipped ahead of myself. I be ahead of my notes sometimes. So now Ren and Yo are down to their last attacks. Whoever wins this next blow will decide it, but Ren has two Earth Spirits, Basan and his horse, and both fully oversized Oversouls, whereas Yo simply has a Midamaru in his blade form. But Ren shows another side of himself. He tells Yo that he has to win, that there's no other choice, and that Yo would understand. And Yo is like, just tell me or I won't know. And we've seen this from Yo before. When Yo fought Horohoro, he had said to him, you know, like, I meant to hold this book the whole time, guys. I'm sorry about that. He had said to him something like, what was it? Tell me what your dream is, you know, and then I'll understand it. And only once Yo learned what Horohoro's dream was could Yo fight Horohoro fully. So we then see that Ren seems to have lost his mind in some kind of way, almost like he's fighting with himself, be quiet. It's almost like Ren's fighting with himself to not get it out, what he wants to tell Yo, because Ren just seems like he's in pain, and as he's doing this, he's charging towards Yo with the finishing blow. Meanwhile, back in China, June and her father, she's pleading with him to let Ren free. She says that she can see her younger brother suffering, but their father simply smiles. He's just like, oh, I'm enjoying this. But she's like, Ren is suffering out there, and he doesn't care. June goes on to explain that Ren hates everything and he wants to destroy everything. He's seen too much death since he was a child, from the moment he was born. In the name of restoring their clan, many people were sacrificed, which we know Leoparson was, and all those armies of thousands of soldier dolls. Yeah, that was from. That's all from them sacrificing people in the name of their restoration. She then tells us that about a Ren that we don't know. She's like, there's a Ren who's kind and more sincere than anybody else in the world, and the only reason he doesn't know, and the only reason he doesn't show it is because he doesn't know how to let go of all that pain and suffering he's been holding on to his entire childhood. He's holding on to it deep inside of himself because he wasn't taught how to express himself, and it's killing him from the inside. So he's doing it. So all he's doing is retaliating with destruction, and thus his goal is to cleanse the world of evil spirits and kill his own family. So she's like, Ren is so kind and so sweet, but you warped him with all this hatred and killing and murder and putting this revenge into him and force him to go up in blood and around death, that he doesn't know any better. So of course Ren's whole goal is to cleanse the world of evil spirits and rid the world of evil, start to cleanse the world of everything, to make it all fresh and make it the world like nature again, like so the world's pure. And that's when she concludes that that's why Ren will lose this fight. Ren will lose. That's what his sister says. Sorry guys, I know I got a little tongue-tied. I'm a little dehydrated too as well. So it was a lot. Plus, it's a lot. It's Father's Day, so it's been a lot. It's been a day. But I hope you guys enjoyed my review of Volume 7. Where do we go from here? I don't really remember. But one thing I love that we learned that like Ren's not really a bad guy. I like that we learned from his sister that like Ren is like, even though they both seem like they was evil, when they came from Umaru, but we're learning more about this character. I also love how Yo and Amidamaru are getting closer. Like Amidamaru is realizing how much Yo trusts him and believes in him, and we're getting more from Yo's personality. Why Yo's not just laid back to just be laid back. He's laid back because like if he does something outside of himself or feels like he's exerting himself, he feels like it's gonna just go bad, like when he fought Faust. I like that Horo made it into the Shaman King tournament. I like that. I guess I like that Faust is there too. I mean, of course, Faust won, so we knew that was going to happen. But I'm excited to see how the main part of the Shaman King tournament happens. I'm excited to see a certain character come back and enter the Shaman King tournament. I'm wondering how Morty's going to make it back before the time's up in less than 10 minutes or 7 minutes, as we said. But speculation, I don't have any right now. And again, I'm too tongue-tied and dehydrated. But let me know what you think about the comments below. I'll see you guys next video, and I'll talk to you later. Bye. Hey guys, this video was sponsored by me, the author of the Shinry series, the Chronicles of Wayne, and Monsterverse. So I figured I'd do this outro a little bit different by showing you guys what you guys will be checking out. So, the Shinry series starts with Book 1, Shobu Samurai Project Aryoku. 10 years after the death of his parents, Shobu Samurai returns home seeking vengeance, but instead faces the choice to save his home from shadow creatures, blood beasts, and an organization once thought dead. Shinry's Shobu Samurai starts at $9.99. And if you love anime, manga, Naruto, One Piece, Bleach, Yu Yu Hakusho, Fairy Tail, Shaman King, Rave Master, Zatch Bell, anything like that, the Shinry series is definitely the series for you. You'll definitely want to check it out. The Sword of Light is probably the thickest one so far. And then these books are 2. This is Enter the Dread Zone Tournament. And the series original ending, Arado, the Legendary Conjuring Master. So, and I'll just show you guys some of the covers. Really proud of all of these. But I hope you guys check it out. If you don't like that, I also have the current published books for the Chronicles of Wayne, Love Be Damned, Cotton Candy, Full Moons, Fabled Lovers, A Cursed Virgin's Bite. If You Go Where Monsters Dance, Red will Rain Over Your House. Love Be Damned. Now, the Chronicles of Wayne is about a geeky guy, or a nerdy guy in high school. His senior year, he has a crush on the hottest guy in school, because of course he does. He's only got one best friend, and her name is Barb. Well, the hottest guy in school turns out to be a werewolf. And to make the story more interesting, he bites Wayne and turns Wayne into the first ever wolfman in the last 10 years. And because of that, it was also a sacred law that wolfmen should never be created. I don't want to get into too much of the Chronicles of Wayne without spoiling it, but I can tell you it's very short. This one sells for $6.99, and Love Be Caged right after it. The ending of this trilogy, Love Be Liberated, comes out in October. So I'm going to definitely do a more full in-depth review of this one. But yeah, it's an LGBT fantasy fiction story about werewolves, vampires, white witches, a dark warlock, and, well, many, many more surprises to come.
So if you guys like to read, I definitely recommend. These are all the books so far in the Shinry series, except for Shinry's Beginning. I do have that one, but it's just not here with me. But yeah, I appreciate a like, support, or just a review on Amazon. Either way, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys have a great day.